What's up, guys? So first of all, if you can see it way off in the distance over there, that's Marine One. That's the president's helicopter that just went overhead. And second of all, right back there, if you can see it just across that little bridge, that's the Pentagon. And today being September 10th, 2019, what happened 18 years ago to the day? What happened? Donald Rumsfeld, then Secretary of Defense, admitted in front of Congress that $2.3 trillion, that's trillion with a T, was unaccounted for from that budget right there, the Department of Defense budget, 18 years ago to the day. What happened the day after today, 18 years ago? You remember? You might not remember, but I think you remember. They tell us to never forget, right? Never forget that 18 years ago to tomorrow, that somehow 2 airplanes took down 3 buildings in New York City. Well, they tell us an airplane hit the Pentagon right there, but in my opinion, it was probably a UAV, an unmanned aerial vehicle. Looked like a drone hit it. And then, of course, the aircraft that went down over Pennsylvania. 18 years ago to the day, Donald Rumsfeld, $2.3 trillion missing. What a way to get everybody to forget about that and turn their attention elsewhere on September 11, 2001. 18 years ago tomorrow to the day. So, pretty incredible stuff. That's the Pentagon right there. Potomac River behind me, Marine One just went overhead. And I needed to just go live and talk about these missing trillions. Trillions with a T, okay? So the story of the missing money from the Pentagon begins really not just 18 years ago, but it begins, like 50 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. Truly, if you look back in the 1980s into a man named Franklin Spinney. Franklin Spinney wrote what's called the Spinney Report. He was I believe, a budget analyst in the Pentagon right there. And he was going through the budgets one day, and he found all sorts of inconsistencies, okay? Now it's called Pentagon waste. And in the 1980s, this report circulated around. It ended up getting out to the press and publicized. And they figured probably billions of dollars of waste. This was back in the 1980s, you guys. So fast forward a few decades, that leads us to September 10th, 2001, like I said, when Donald Rumsfeld admitted that $2.3 trillion was unaccounted for in the DoD's budgets. Next day, 9/11 happens. Everybody forgets about that. Fast forward about, 16, 17 years. In 2016, the Inspector General of the Department of Defense released a report that said that money that's, I think they called it in misadjustments, or the money that was unaccounted for, however they describe it, that money went up to $6.5 trillion. $6.5 trillion missing from that budget right there, okay? Now, some estimates these days say that it could be upwards of 10, if not even closer to $20 trillion. Trillion, guys. And this is just from the Pentagon's budget. This isn't counting the money siphoning that could be happening, all across the board from multiple 3-letter agencies. Pretty amazing stuff, huh? Pretty amazing stuff. A lot of planes going overhead here. Helicopters too. You can see pretty aerosol spray day in DC here. Chemtraily day. So, that number of missing money just from the Pentagon could be in the trillions. And regardless, whether it's 6.5, 10, 20, still, that's a whole lot of money. That's a whole lot of money that's been siphoned where? Into black budgets. Black budgets of the defense contractors. Let's ask Lockheed. Let's ask Raytheon. They got a big building right over there. Let's ask Boeing and TRW where all this money's gone. And let's ask the agency themselves, the CIA, and their black budget monies. Where does all that money come from? Yeah, you guessed it. Not just that budget, the DoD's budget, but a lot of other budgets as well. So, like I said, pretty incredible stuff. Little things that not many people realize. But my God, just this one data point could blow your mind. And a lot of people then ask, you know, okay, what are they doing with this money? They're not just pocketing it. As I often say, where does the money go? Way high up and way down below. We're talking about those secret space programs, those secret spacecraft they're building, all the amazingly advanced technologies that they've had in those black budgets for decades. 0-point anti-gravity. Of course, what is the CIA doing in their black programs? You know, the mind control, all sorts of different genetics research and whatnot. I mean, we can go down the list of what they're probably doing with it. Secret facilities on Earth, underground, deep underground military bases. Maybe some secret facilities on the backside of the moon. Who knows? I wouldn't put it past any realm of possibility that those secret bases could even be on Mars or other planets. You know, when you have these 0-point anti-gravity technologies that can get you here to Mars in 5 minutes, and if Lockheed built a black triangle back in the 70s to do it, well, why wouldn't they do it? Another helicopter right over here. So, hold on, I want to see which one this is. Huh. Interesting. So, pretty incredible stuff. A lot of money missing from that budget right there. And funny enough as well, it's never ever been audited. Believe it or not, the Pentagon has never been audited, asterisk, before 2018. In 2018, we had the very first audit ever of the Pentagon right there. And, of course, we had to get Donald Trump in there as the presidency and some patriots in control before that happened. But they did. They completed the Pentagon audit, and we haven't really heard much about it. Funny enough, we haven't heard much about this audit in 2018 of the Pentagon. And you would think with that much money missing, that we'd hear a lot about it, but unfortunately, those are some details, some facts that the public would be, well, number one, we got to get them to believe it in the first place. And the public is not likely to believe that that much money is missing from the Pentagon if we just outright told them, right? So there's been drips. There's been little media stories throughout 2018 and 2019 here that's been basically soft disclosing the Pentagon budgets and what's really going on with them. For instance, there was a story in the beginning of 2018 about these helicopters, a few $100 million worth of helicopters that went unaccounted for. Towards the latter half of 2018, there was a news story that was run talking about the Air Force's $1,300 coffee cups. You can look that one up. $1,380 for a frickin' French press. The Air Force definitely gouging the money. So there's been little drips, soft disclosures of this, because of course we can't tell the public that trillions of dollars are missing. Number one, they wouldn't believe it. Number two, they'd be a little shocked. So got to ease these sorts of truths, this sort of information onto them. And last thing I want to discuss is, you know, the price gouging. I just mentioned $1,300 for a frickin' coffee cup. And if you follow Q, this is one of the first things that Q touched on in their drops. $15,000 for a toothbrush. Drop number 117, that happened on, I think, November 6, 2017. So this is literally their first week into it. Q made a post. $15,000 for a toothbrush? Where does the money go? Who audits the money? Trick question. Nobody's audited the money before President Trump got into office. And that's how they price gouge. That's how they siphon the money, is these defense contractors will charge $15,000 for a toothbrush, $1,300 for a coffee cup. You ever see the movie Independence Day? Beautiful truth in plain sight. They put right there for the public to see. 1995, the first Independence Day that came out, the one with Will Smith. The scene when the president is taken down to Area 51 after the ET started attacking him. And the president's looking around and goes, how the hell do we pay for all this stuff? One of the supporting actors goes, you don't think they spend $40,000 on a toilet seat, do you? Incredible how much truth is put in plain sight through Hollywood. The deep state, how arrogant they are to put these truths in plain sight right in front of us. And really, it's they sort of have to tell us what they're doing in the realm of free will, but that's exactly what happens. Siphon the money, charge exorbitant amounts of money for basic things, and then they take the rest, funnel that right into their secret projects. And you got to understand, these black projects, they're much more developed within the corporations, okay? A lot of these black projects and a lot of this secret stuff that the deep state does, it's not really in the hands of the government, because within the government, It's a lot more difficult to keep things secret. You can FOIA the government. Freedom of Information Act requests. You can FOIA the government. You can't FOIA Lockheed. You can't FOIA Boeing. You can't FOIA, TRW and Raytheon and all these folks. Okay? So, them corporations, man, we really gotta, in my opinion, start looking into them. Get the truth out of them. These CEOs, these boards of directors, these deep state folks. So, that's all I wanted to check in with you guys here.